Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Crimes of sex trafficking and prostitution are constant these days. A 19-year-old was in a Fargo courtroom today accused of being involved in sex crimes. Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero explains this case and how Fargo detectives are handling cyber crimes.
Harley Haugen pled not guilty in court on charges stemming from an armed robbery in South Fargo. She's accused of using a website to sell sexual services. Police say two men showed up to this apartment building, and once they paid to have sex, they were robbed by men hiding in a bedroom. A search warrant filed in Cass County District Court also shows she's not only being accused of committing attempted robbery, but also of being involved in an underage sex trafficking. At one point, police say Haugen brought an underage girl into a motel for sex. The girl's mom contacted police after noticing that her daughter had made a large deposit into her bank account. A few years ago, Congress passed a law clamping down on websites such as Craigslist where prostitution was being openly advertised. Unfortunately, that type of crime is still happening online.
The digital world right now is changing almost every single day, so we have to change and adapt just like everybody else does.
The Fargo Police Department has shifted departments to better tackle cyber sex crimes by dedicating more resources.
A lot of times what they're doing is they're seeing things that come through our tip line, through online tips and things like that, and they'll become aware of stuff that is going on websites.
Police say if you're a victim of such a sex crime, it's important to report it and not be ashamed because of what happened. Oftentimes, these crimes go unreported. In Fargo, Joshua Peguero, Valley News Live.
A resident tells us that building in South Fargo made security upgrades 3 months ago by adding cameras and locking the front entry door. Moorhead police are on the hunt for a stolen Dodge Avenger and the person who was behind the wheel. It all started last week when officers got a fireworks complaint near the Moorhead Library. When they got there, they found a car in the parking lot that they quickly learned was stolen. As officers were waiting for backup, they say the driver of the stolen car put it in reverse and crashed into one of the squad cars. After that, police chased the man in the car, but eventually called off the chase because the speeds were getting too high. Now, police are asking for your help tracking down a 2011 orange Dodge Avenger with Minnesota plates. The driver is believed to be a man. If you have any information, you're urged to call dispatch. That number is 701-451-7660. A Lisbon man is facing multiple child sex crime charges, some of which date back to the 1980s. Court records say 71-year-old Ernest Bollinger is facing a total of 6 counts of gross sexual imposition. Court documents claim a 9-year-old boy told investigators that on 2 separate occasions in 2018, Bollinger would force him to perform oral sex. Records also state in another incident, Bollinger made the child watch porn on a tablet. He's set to be in court on October 23rd. A lot of the same the past couple days with more cloudy and cooler weather, but the sunshine is just around the corner. Hutch joins us now in your No Wait weather with a look at the rest of our night. Hutch.
Thanks so much. As we take a look around the region, that sun is shining in places like Jamestown and in south central North Dakota. Dickey County seeing some sun to go to work on the banks of snow in the ditches. Devil's Lake, though, still a fair amount of clouds and a lot more snow to melt. We are about to turn a corner. Take a look at temperatures with me. We have 60s in the western portion of the Dakotas, 39 in Devil's Lake, and a lot of low to mid 40s here across the valley. So the warm air punching in, and we can certainly see that the clouds are on their way out. A few sprinkles through Lakes Country, not out of the question, but most of the green you see on the radar not reaching the ground. But that clearing trend will persist, and by the time we head to bed tonight, a chance for these clouds to be a thing of the past. We do have to worry, Melanie, about a chance of some patchy, dense fog again as we work into your Thursday forecast. I'll have details on how warm we get, and we'll talk a little bit about the extended outlook here in just a few minutes.
Okay, Hutch, thank you. More details are being released around a missing woman's case out of northeastern Minnesota. A body has just been found in Atkin County, and police say it's likely connected to that case. 35-year-old Michelle May has been missing since October 3rd. The body was found on private property in a town northeast of Brainerd. The body is now undergoing an autopsy. May is from Outing, Minnesota, which is about 17 miles from where she was found. A 35-year-old Fargo man is lucky to be alive after falling asleep at the wheel and ending up in the river. Troopers say 35-year-old Darren Paulson was traveling southbound on I-29 when he fell asleep, drove through a barrier, and landed right into the river. This is a picture. You can see just a sliver of the vehicle sticking out. Luckily, Paulson was rescued from the submerged car. He was taken to the hospital, but is expected to be okay. A deadly crash in Polk County continues to be investigated. And now authorities are telling us the names of the people who died in that fatal accident. It happened yesterday at the intersection of County Road 46 and 270th Street Southwest. Officials say 36-year-old Jacob Anderson was heading west in his car when he didn't stop for a semi that was traveling down the county road. The driver of the semi was not hurt, but Anderson, along with his passenger, 33-year-old Allison Rierson, were killed in the crash. We also know the names of the two people involved in another semi versus car accident that happened yesterday in Hitterdal. Minnesota State Patrol says 64-year-old Vonseal Brown was driving south when she suddenly braked and swerved into the semi, crashing into it head-on. The semi was driven by 54-year-old Stephen Miller. Both Brown and Miller were taken to the hospital, and both are expected to be okay. At this time, it's unknown why the car braked and suddenly swerved. Meanwhile, police are still looking for help finding a Moorhead runaway who's been gone from home for 3 weeks now. They believe 13-year-old Joshua Newmayer is still in the Fargo-Moorhead area. He's about 5'7", 100 to 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. You can call police if you know anything about where he is. A 6-year-old Becker, Minnesota boy is safe at home after wandering away with his family dog and getting lost, igniting a harrowing day of searching involving hundreds of people. Deputies were searching for Ethan House, along with an estimated 600 volunteers, when a person with a drone spotted the boy and his dog shortly before 2 a.m. in a cornfield about 1.5 miles from his home.
It was a tremendous operation. I couldn't be prouder of the community, of the public safety, of the law enforcement, everybody that was involved.
Both the boy and his dog were checked out by paramedics, and they are okay. President Trump is making no apologies today for abruptly pulling U.S. troops out of Syria, a move that has European allies on edge and is getting fierce pushback from the president's allies on Capitol Hill. Alice Barr is at the White House, where the president is meeting with congressional leaders of both parties on the matter.
Amid escalating violence in northern Syria, President Trump is defiantly defending his decision to pull out U.S. troops as bipartisan condemnation of the move grows louder.
Our soldiers are not in harm's way, as they shouldn't be, as two countries fight over land. That has nothing to do with us. And the Kurds are much safer right now.
In fact, the Kurds are fighting for their lives. Our ally in the fight against ISIS now under attack by Turkey after the sudden U.S. withdrawal. The president's response triggering a sparring match with one of his staunchest allies.
To suggest the Kurds are safer is really delusional.
Lindsey Graham would like to stay in the Middle East for the next 1,000 years.
Radical Islam is not tired of fighting us.
Lawmakers in both parties are meeting the president to discuss the crisis as the U.S. hits Turkey with sanctions, and Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo head there to push Turkey's president for a ceasefire, though he said that's not on the table. Secretary Pompeo focused on foreign policy, while his former senior advisor Michael McKinley, who resigned last week, testifies behind closed doors in the impeachment inquiry. Yesterday, another career diplomat reportedly testified that the White House replaced State Department officials with political appointees dubbed the Three Amigos: Energy Secretary Rick Perry, Special Ukraine Envoy Kurt Volker, and European Union Ambassador Gordon Sondland, and that they drove President Trump's Ukraine policy ahead of his July call asking the Ukrainian leader to investigate a political rival.
Officials say the former EU ambassador is set to testify tomorrow. Lawmakers want to ask what he knew about an alleged Ukrainian exchange involving military aid for investigating Joe Biden. A tentative deal has been reached to end a month-long auto workers' strike against GM. Tens of thousands of striking United Auto workers will not return to their jobs just yet, likely staying on the picket lines for at least 2 more days, giving union leaders time to vote on the proposal. Union members would then have to approve it. They're asking for higher pay, better health care, and more profit sharing.
It's just, we're tired. We're tired, and we're just ready for some change, right, guys? That's right. And we just wanted to be treated fair, that's all.
The strike shuttered 33 manufacturing plants in 9 states and 22 parts distribution warehouses. 2 more deaths in Minnesota from what's believed to be a vaping-related injury. The Minnesota Department of Health reported the first vaping-related death on September 6th. The 2 latest deaths involved were people over the age of 50. Both died in September following complicated hospitalizations. The patients developed difficulty breathing. Investigators uncovered the first patient vaped a number of products, including illegal THC. The second patient had severe underlying conditions and is believed to have vaped unknown products in addition to nicotine. A reminder to join us again this weekend for the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show. Coverage begins at 1:30 live from the Fargo Dome, with kickoff to follow at 2:30 between the Bison and the Bears on the KVLY and K-Fire Bison Football Network.